Peskies Pest Control. Put your birds on the run. Call 205-470-8161.
Hey, so today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about real estate, and I've got my good friend.
Hey, I'm Chancie Rogers with Chancie Rogers Realty, brokered by Keller Williams Hoover.
Well, Chancie, so a couple questions for you. What got you into real estate?
Well, actually, I had already had our, at the time, 3-year-old, and my husband's a fireman, and so we were looking for a way for me to be able to stay at home and not have to be away from him so much. So I started in December of 2013 getting my license, and then we found out in February of 2014 that I was pregnant with our second child. So no, that's not right. 2015. So I decided to go all in with real estate. I was working for a paper company in Birmingham, 8 to 5. And I fell in love with it, and it took off, and it's been a roller coaster ever since.
Well, and you started at the perfect time for housing because the market was just on fire.
Yeah. I had 6 months of just a normalized market where things sat for, 30 days. And then we went straight into COVID market, and it blew up fast.
Oh yeah, I remember you were calling me daily,
Yes.
5, 6, 7 times a day. So
yeah, absolutely, yeah, and it was. Hey, how fast can you get out there?
Well, hey, any advice for someone getting into real estate now, as far as the good, the bad, what you've seen?
Yeah, you just have to really be dedicated. You have to have goals in mind. You have to know that this business runs off of what you do. What you put into it is what you get out of it. And I'm definitely seeing that now outside of COVID market. You can't they're not just selling now. You have to work, you have to market, you have to be disciplined and discipline yourself. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of joy. Because you're helping people with one of the biggest decisions of their lives. But you have to really be dedicated.
Well, and also there's kind of that lull that they have to worry about. If there's no houses on the market, then you're
because I don't think what people realize is real estate is all commission. It's commission based, and if you're not selling, you're not making money. A brokerage just holds your license to represent you and to be there for you if something was to go awry. But you're all commission based. You get no money unless those houses sell, and when those houses are sitting, you have to plan for that.
Oh yeah. So what's the average commission that you would get off of a home?
It just depends on the area. So I work, of course I've sold everywhere and anywhere, but I mainly mainly do the McCalla area. And here, commission, you're looking about $400 to $5,000 once it's split. The usual split is anywhere between 2.5% to 3.5%. For buyer and seller. So you're looking, your average commission right here in the McCalla area, unincorporated McCalla, you're looking at about $4,000 to $5,000.
That's not bad.
No, not bad. But then you have to take in the taxes and putting back into the company.
Of course.
And, people look at it and they're like, real estate agents make so much money. And I'm like, let me show you how to do this.
That's like being a business owner, so.
Yeah. And you are. Like, I'm an LLC. I own Chancie Rogers Realty. And yes, Keller Williams is my home office, but I own my own business. So you pay those business taxes. And luckily, again, I'm blessed to be married to a fireman. So we have state and health insurance, but I know plenty of agents that have to pay for their own health insurance. So that's another fee that rolls into all of that on top of our signs and our marketing and everything we do to make it a seamless transaction.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I know we've talked about this a lot, but where do you see the market or how is the real estate market now from COVID to now? What are you seeing?
I think all agents have it different. Again, where I work, the areas that I work, that I'm mainly in, we are seeing a very slow market. We're seeing houses sitting for a lot longer than what they were, which is the norm. They call it the shift. We're in the middle of a shift. And what's so strange is usually everyone shifts together, and you're seeing more of the cities, not so much in a shift right now, where the county, the rural areas are in the shift. And I think that's just due to who's buying right now and who's not buying right now. You have your people who aren't wanting to be around all the things in the rural areas, and right now they're like, I'm just going to hold my money and see what happens. And I truly feel, and anything that I'm listening to feels the same way I do. My lender partners feel the same way I do. As soon as we see those interest rates start dropping a little bit, we're going to see a crazy market again.
Well, it's crazy because prices haven't changed.
And they're going
all.
up still.
Right. I mean, well, I've seen some around here, we've got some older people who are leaving their home and going other places, and they're selling them for 20, 30,000 less than what they were going for. And they're still sitting on the market, not going anywhere. I mean, it's crazy how it's just flipped.
Yeah, we went from here, just in my neighborhood alone, we went from houses selling for 170 to 180 a square foot, and now we're barely getting them over 150 a square foot. But keep in mind, 150 a square foot is still a whole lot more than what they were even 4 years ago. So we're comparing with a market that is unprecedented to anybody if you ask them. And the market is trying to level itself out a little bit, but at the same time, prices are still high. And now you throw in the 8% interest rates. So we're just in a lull right now, I think.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. I mean, like we just talked about, $130,000 house is now almost $500,000 house. I can't wrap my head around, what it was. So.
Yeah. I mean, like you and I were talking about, I mean, we purchased our homes for right now people. I mean, at the time we were like, man, that's a steal. And now it's like, was it condemned? Was it falling in? Like, how did you get it for that price? And now, I mean, you and I both can sell our houses for double what we paid for them. And we bought ours in 2014. So, I mean, that's not a huge gap from what we're seeing now. And I mean, have we done a lot of work here? Absolutely. We've put everything we can back into it. But does that make it to where we should be able to sell it for in the 300,000s? I don't know, and that's the market that's trying to reset itself a little bit, because kids now, that are getting out of college, getting out of high school, and they're wanting to buy. I know when I was getting out of college and high school, it was a starter home was $89,000. And you're getting a starter home now, if you're lucky, brand new build, 250, 260, and brand new build starter homes, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, brick, to get going was $89,000 easy.
Oh yeah. I mean, to me, it was a lot easier. And that's, you're talking about the 250, 270, that's a little ways out. I mean, you're not going to be in your Jefferson County. Yeah. You're going to be more unincorporated. So yeah, you're looking at out in Calera, and those areas that have all that booming new communities, the D.R. Hortons, the Newcastles, all of those building the brand new houses side by side. I mean, they're still in the 250s, 260s easy. And a lot of those new builders are giving all of these specials and the buy downs and everything, because they're having to be able to keep going, because it's hard. Of course. Yeah. It's hard. And when taxes tell you that your house is $3,000 more than what it was 2 years ago, you have to incorporate all of that when you're selling as well. And it's, it's just, people it's a shell shock for everyone. Oh yeah, definitely. So where do you see the market going? I know we talked about, in the next couple, maybe a year, maybe 6 months, we really don't know. Where do you see it going? Yeah. I mean, I always hate this question, because I don't want people to look back and be like, she was wrong. What we listen to NAR, which is the real, that's where real estates get all of their information from. That's where we get everything. The National Association of Realtors. We listen to investors who have been doing this for years. And if real estate agents aren't doing that, you should be, because that's literally my lifeline. Because again, I'm 4 years in, and I've seen 3 different markets in 4 years. And I feel truly where I'm about to see a whole nother market again, where housing prices are still high. 6% is the new 2 and 3%. And we're going to go into another feeding frenzy for 15 people per house, because you have to think about it. We had those people that sold their home and kept the cash because their house was worth the most it's ever going to be worth. Kept the cash. Well, we're just going to live in our RV, or we're just going to rent for a little while. They're still living in an RV. They're still renting. And so once that drops just a little bit, which I think will be closer to election time, maybe late spring, I think we'll see a feeding frenzy again, and we're all going to be exhausted. I pray. Anyway, I'm ready for that. I thrive in that. I don't thrive in how long is it going to take my house to sell? It's been sitting for 15 days. But I do feel that that's what's coming, and buyers need to brace themselves to be ready to battle again.
Definitely. Hey, I love getting a phone call from you on Thursday night being like, hey, I got a closing on Friday. I need you to do it Friday morning.
Yeah.
I'm with you. It's great.
And that's really what we're seeing. So that domino effect was, just to give an example of how crazy it is right now, we had been under contract for 2 months on that. But because you and I both know that you got to get paid. And I was just waiting because the person that was buying that house was having to sell their house, and they were doing a cash deal. Well, the closing date kept changing, which of course adjusted our closing date. And then I was doing this as a gift for my seller clients, but I don't want to pay out of pocket because I've had to do it before for a house that didn't sell, for a termite bond when it's just sitting there. So we were having to play domino effect. And then I get the phone call, hey, we're not closing next Tuesday. We're actually bumping it up to this Friday because those people want to be in the house over the weekend. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, because I think we had it scheduled for like that Monday or Tuesday. And I'm like, hey, we got to get this done like yesterday. And that's what we're seeing. Like, it's still moving so fast once you get to that process, because lenders are just banging stuff out.
Right.
But we have to get to that process first, and everything else is kind of slowed down because these people are waiting for this to happen and this to happen and this to happen. And with the interest rates changing daily, we never know if we're going to make it to the closing table right now, because they might, if they don't lock in like they're supposed to, they might wake up one morning and be like, hey, we can't afford this because the interest rates went up 5%. I mean, it's just, it's been crazy. And we've literally seen it all in the last 6 months.
Oh yeah. I mean, buying a house, then you can't afford the furniture. So,
Right. Don't you dare about that before we close, because I'll go berserk.
Exactly. Well, that brings me to my next question. So that's perfect. So what sets you apart? I know you just talked about, and if you want to elaborate more on that, because I when you called me and said you were doing that, I thought that was awesome for you to do for your customer. Great customer service. So what sets you apart?
Well, that's it. Like, this is the most joyful yet stressful time of their life. They're making the biggest purchase of their life. And so you want to make that as seamless as possible. Of course, in this case, this is a reoccurring client for me, a good friend of mine. She's also starting to invest, so she's going to be an investor client of mine. And I just wanted to make sure that she knew how much I appreciated her, how important it was. And I didn't want them to, I knew coming down to it, the last thing we were going to need was the termite bond and the WIR. And, you guys are always so great to just be like, yes, we're on it. Like, don't worry about it. But I knew that was going to be stressful, and I didn't want her in the picture at all. So I just took care of that. But, I'm huge on social media. I absolutely love marketing. Background, my dad has been a marketing manager for EMS for 40 plus years now. So the marketing for me is just huge, and I enjoy it. And you can see that in my job. I also give back to the fire department with any closing that I have. That's huge to me. And not only am I married to one, I'm a granddaughter of one, I'm a daughter of one. All my family is in the medical field. So giving back to them is so important to me. And it's a huge stable in our life to make sure that those guys and gals are taken care of. So that's important too.
Oh yeah. They deserve it. They
absolutely. Deserve it. They work way too hard.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so let's talk about some good and bad about real estate. Obviously during COVID, it was great. Now it's bad. What are some just horror stories that you have?
Right. You just have to prepare. And real estate agents, they always have to have that that keeper in your back pocket. I mean, right now, you and I've talked about it. I'm subbing at the school anytime that I can, just to make up for that income that's not there. You don't take away from pouring into your business, and you don't be a secret agent. I think if you look on my Facebook, you'll be able to tell every day that I'm a real estate agent. I keep it in people's face. But, you know, just being a full-time agent, being there for your clients, you just have to know that what you're going through isn't anywhere compared to what your clients are going through, especially those buyers who have been waiting for a year to get into a home. You know, they're stressed. They can't find anything. And just, you know, being a real person, like they're real people, you're working for them. Understand that you're working for them. And if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't be getting a paycheck. So, you know, just knowing that it's not as easy as it looks on Selling Sunset. And it's not as magical as HGTV, but you make it as smooth a transition as possible for your clients. And of course, there are plenty of horror stories. You have people that you work with just to get that paycheck that at the end, like y'all probably weren't the best fit for each other. And they probably won't use you again, and that's okay with you. But you still give them the utmost attention and serving them just like you would anyone else.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, and not getting,
I think that's a little bit of the downfall that we see in this, you know, in this business. A lot of people are like, they're just trying to get to that closing table, not understanding that you literally are in charge of one of the biggest decisions in people's lives, and they're about to sign over literally their life and every bit of money that they have. And just using that as I got to get money in the bank is just that's not how this should work. That's not what real estate was meant for. You're to be that backbone and that person that is there to guide them through the whole way. And when you can't be that if all you're looking for is a paycheck. So if you're getting into real estate but you know what you need, make sure that you have that something to fall back on, so that every paycheck isn't like, I've got to have it no matter what the situation is.
Oh yeah. Well, and you know, the biggest thing is trust too. I mean, like we work with multiple real estate agents, and I've voiced my opinion. You know, some of them have, after we've given the wood infestation report, we've never heard back from them. We've never been paid. So, you know, just having that trust with the person you're working for and being able to vouch for that person is huge.
Well, and we're not in a business to where you burn those bridges, you know, like, I mean, I depend on you just as much as you depend on me. You know, you're like, hey, you know, I know that she's going to call me when she needs a termite, if it's up to her. And you know that, like, there's no doubt. But, you know, at the same time, I need to know that the job's getting done and I don't have to worry about it. And I never have to. And it's the same way with all of my partners. If at the end of the day, like, and I'll use this for prime example, one of my lender partners, their marketing person is literally my best friend, like my ride or die. And she knows that, like, I love her absolutely with every inch of me. But if I have a client that I know is not going to mix with them, I'm going to send them to one of my other lender partners. And if I have a client that comes to me and they're like, hey, this just isn't working for me, I, again, absolutely love her, but we're flipping them to someone else because they're my client and they're what's important to me. It's the same way with my title company. You know, I have all these preferred people who I rely on them and they rely on me. But at the end of the day, if my client's not happy with anybody that I pick, we switching gears.
Of course.
Because they are my number one priority. And that's the way it should be in real estate. But at the same time, you do have those bonds with certain people. Y'all are a team. You know, in real estate, they think that, you know, it's just the real estate agent. I have 50 million people, including you, who I have at my back, that I have this team and we're ready to go. And I give my people the sheet and these are who you need to call. Let's get the ball rolling.
Right.
And I've built a team of people that I trust, so I don't have to worry about it.
That's right.
Yeah. And if you don't have that team, you don't have that backbone, you don't have that structure, you're not running a true real estate business.
Yeah.
I mean, you're making it work. And when you burn bridges like that, like, you know, with me and you, I wanted to make sure that there was a paid situation. So it was paid in full. And then when you were reimbursed, you reimbursed me. That's the way it should be. Like, that's the way this business should be ran. Not, well, I'm going to call a person, and if it doesn't work out, well, I'll just move on to the next. That's not a team. That's not running a true business.
Well, and that's something else. You know, with us and you, we've heard of a lot of other companies that they go through email and all that. I like that personal touch with my customers, with you, with anybody that I'm working with, where it's a conversation. Hey, yeah, we'll get it done. I really don't like the filling out a form type thing, and I guess it's old school. I don't know, so.
Well, and I really and truly haven't had many buyer clients or seller clients that haven't used you. And so, and that's coming from buyers who already have contracts set up with someone else because they're buying from someone. But my people trust me so much, and we have such a good relationship, and we're a team that they're like, I want to flip to your guys because I know that I can call you, you can call them if there's something wrong. Where if there's other people, I'm going to be on hold for 15 minutes waiting on the next customer service representative.
Right.
Know, like, I guess, it all boils down to, you can use big companies. I'm not saying big companies are not a good option. Go ahead, if that's what you're comfortable with and that's who your team is. I do better with small town team because I'm a hometown country girl lender. Look at my house, but it just works better for us. It works better for my clientele. I'm not in the upper areas where they don't mind, somebody's going to take care of it for them. So they don't mind sitting on hold for 15 minutes. I know who I can contact. I know who I can go to, and I know it's taken care of. And that's something off my real estate plate that I don't have to worry about.
Right. Well, Chancie, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. So how can we find you? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
So my cell phone is always the best way to get in touch with me. Calls or text messages, 205-260-8286. I literally answer anything. It could say spam risk, and I'm still going to answer it just in case. And then I am on TikTok, The Fancy Agent, Instagram, The Fancy Agent, and then just Chancie Rogers Realty on Facebook.
Perfect. Well, hey, again, I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Google Peskies